So I'm reviewing Chris Stuckman's books because he's got a new movie coming out. I followed Chris Stuckman for years. I reviewed his last book. Today we're talking about Anime Impact, which is significantly better and significantly longer than his previous book. This book is pretty cool. This book is called Anime Impact: The Shows and Movies That Changed the World of Japanese Animation. So this book is about Chris. Basically, the concept of this book is kind of different people that I guess Chris knows or has some affiliation with, to giving them thoughts on basic anime and how they influence the history of Japanese animation and really stuff like that. I do have a couple critiques with this book, but let me explain what I liked about this book. I do not watch a lot of anime, so a book kind of giving me more insight into the to certain animes. It isn't a very good insight to those, but it is like, oh, there's a couple of these that are more obscure that I did like kind of reading about, where in this book I'd heard of every single one of these movies, and sure, there was like one or two I hadn't seen, but goddamn, this is like literally significantly better at actually giving you a couple titles in there that are more obscure, which is good because his last couple books did not do a great job at that. I like this book a little bit more. It is very flawed, though. First of all, this book is about the impact of anime, and even Chris talks about how they influence like American movies in his little forward at the beginning of the book. He doesn't really dive into that. Like, he doesn't even explain that well, how Ghost in the Shell became a big influence on The Matrix and other things like that. He doesn't really do that very well. And he also doesn't really explain very well how they changed like Japanese animation. It's just a very basic overread of these animes. So if you like these animes, that's great, but there isn't a lot of extra stuff to it to really make it pop. So these books are pretty meh. I think Chris Stuckman is a nice guy. I'm sure he's a great writer. I mean, he's been able to make a whole movie and write screenplays. But when you actually sit and read these books, they are very, very flawed movies or books. And yeah, I'm not sure. I would be curious to read another book because I think, if you're improving by your second book, obviously that's a sign that maybe at one point you will become a significantly better writer, but we will see if he decides to write more books. It's been a long time.